All right, guys. So, am I audible to all of you? Is the voice is loud and clear? Can you just confirm me whether the voice is loud and clear and the screen is also visible to all of you very clearly? All right. Okay, Sanjay. Okay, Vishnu. Yes, Aishwarya. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I got many responses that there is no issue with the voice or the screen. So let's get started. So today, we are formally starting the first unit of anthropology and focusing on the meaning, scope, and development of anthropology. So, this topic forms the foundation for understanding the discipline, and it will give us a strong base from which, you know, we can explore the human societies, behaviors, and evolution. Okay, so very important topic, and this is our first topic. It gives you some good idea about this discipline, and we'll have a clear understanding of this discipline, and it will give us a very strong base when we proceed further, and it will also help in understanding a very good development of anthropology, and that will help you in the coming discussions. Okay, so let's get started, and the definition. We need to see the definition, we need to see the scope and the development of anthropology. If we see this, it will allow us to grasp its broad range. If you remember, I told you that the range is getting wider and wider. And also, we can see that from the biological aspects to cultural practices, and in all dimensions, we can see. Okay. So, as we proceed further on this journey, remember, guys, this is what I always tell you. You are just beginning. Okay, most of you are from technical background, and because of that itself, the confusion is normal, and this confusion is functional also. Okay, which is good for you, and it help you to grow and clarify the understanding. So don't worry about confusion, and I am here. Even see, after the session, we will be spending enough and more time. If you remember, yesterday we spent around 1 hour after the session. So today also, even though I commit 30 minutes that I'll be spending after the session, but yesterday, like what we have done is 1 hour. So today also, we will be doing the same. And day by day, the chances of confusion are, more, because when we are getting into the theories and other things. So we will do that. There is no issue. And only thing is that we will be keeping the Q&A towards the end. Okay, because so many are attending the video sessions, not able to attend the session on time like all of you. So for them, it will be more convenient if we can, give that exact crisp of the session. Okay, so that's the only reason why I keep the Q&A towards the end, and I'll be sitting with you all the time, and we will be discussing everything before we finish the day. Okay, so let's start by discussing what anthropology really means. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. So here you can see the topic is meaning of anthropology. See, as we know, anthropology comes from two words: anthropos, which means human, and logos, which means systematic study. So what does this mean now? Systematic study of human behavior, right? So the simplest definition of anthropology is that the systematic study of humans. But this initial understanding barely scratches the surface, right? And anthropology is not limited to biological aspects. It encompasses every aspect of human existence: our history, our culture, behavior, and social structures. And that you have seen yesterday itself when we discussed the basics, right? So that we have understood, and we are going to see also in the coming sessions. Now it's a field that studies human beings holistically. So every aspect will be discussed, and it consider both our physical and cultural attributes and how these have evolved over a period of time, right? So all these we will be seeing, guys, and don't worry about that. As I told you again, confusion is functional. We have not started anything. Okay, so now, why this simple definition is not sufficient? We need to now discuss from the perspective of the thinkers also. So while defining anthropology as a systematic study of human gives us a starting point, That's not the end of anthropology. That's not the complete definition of anthropology. It doesn't explain the full scope of the discipline, right? Human beings are complex. So study of human being is also complex. And anthropology must account that complexity. So no doubt that simple definition won't work. Okay, so that's anyway very clear. And what exactly does it study about humans? That's what we need to discuss. And when we try to define that, isn't that going to be complex? Is that naturally complex, right? So what we study about humans and everything we'll discuss. And is it limited to our biology, or limited to our societies, or our culture, right? So how does it differ from sociology if it is related to the culture, right? If it, how it is related, different to or differ from biology, if it's about biological aspect, or how is it differ from psychology? That also studies humans. So what is more specific about anthropology? Yeah, chat should always explode. You can answer the question, right? So see, when we discuss about study of humans, this is a very simple definition, leaves many unanswered questions. Now we need to answer all of these, right? So that's exactly what we are going to do in the coming session. And anthropology studies all aspect of human life. Now what are they? That's what we discussed yesterday in different slides. Biological aspect it will study, social aspect it will study. So for biological aspect, there is biology. For social aspect, there is sociology. But here we study biological, social, cultural, historical. But what we do is we integrate everything, and we study by using an integrated approach and in a holistic manner. Okay, so what you can say again, anthropology study all aspect of human life, which include biological, social, cultural, and historical, but in an integrated and holistic manner. Okay, I repeat once again, anthropology studies all aspect of human life, biological, social, cultural, and historical, but in an integrated and holistic manner. Okay, so that's another way you can define sociology. So here we have discussed why human complexity, multifaceted approach, and distinguishing anthropology from the other subjects. So all these are very significant. Okay, so let's now move on to the next slide. That is the comprehensive and holistic approach of anthropology. See, anthropology stands out from all these subjects. Why? Why? Because it's more comprehensive, more holistic, and more integrated approach is what we are following, right? So it studies humans from all parts of the world across all periods of time, and it also looks at the full spectrum of human existence. That means it's a more holistic study compared to any other subjects that we discussed just before. That's why anthropology stands out. That doesn't make it difficult, guys. Don't worry about that. Okay. Shweta, that doesn't make it difficult. Okay. And see, when I say holistic, what does this mean? We mean that anthropology doesn't look at one aspect in isolation. It integrates all the aspects of human, which is biological aspect, cultural aspect, social, and linguistic dimension to offer a complete understanding of humanity. So that's how what I told you in the beginning of the slide itself, that anthropology stand out from other subjects because of this. For example, when we study marriage, what anthropologists do, or anthropologists normally don't just look into a biological need of reproduction, right? So that's not the case. We consider cultural rituals, how culturally it is important, social norms, why we follow certain norms when it comes to marriage, right? So that we need to look at, and historical context of marriage practices. That means we won't study marriage in isolation only in terms of biological needs or reproduction. No, we will be looking at the cultural aspect. We will be looking at the social norms. We will be looking at the rituals. We will be looking at how these are connected with society and other sections, other human beings, right? And everything will be covered in a systematic and holistic manner. So that's how anthropological investigation is done. Okay. So scope of anthropology. Now let's start with scope of anthropology. We will be looking at broad scope, and then diverse perspectives we'll see. Multidisciplinary approach also we'll discuss, and unique insights that also we can discuss. So when we see the scope of anthropology, it's vast, encompassing all aspects of human life across all places and times. Anthropology studies human behavior, and societies, languages, and cultures, both in the present and the past. Okay, so it looks at humans in all their diversity, whether studying hunter gatherers in the past or analyzing how modern societies function today. So it looks at all dimension, it looks at all time period, it looks at all different possibilities of evolution of human beings. And anthropology's scope include biological aspect also. It covers the social structure also, and the economic systems as well, political institutions also, and much more. So what do you say now? The scope is unlimited or multidisciplinary? Because of this, it is unique in its ability to offer a broad but still detailed understanding of the human condition. So I'll give you the slide and the PPT and everything. It's already given to you. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Let this complete. This ad is coming. Just 15 seconds, right? So why it is coming? Yeah, broad scope. Anthropology studies all aspects of human life across all places and times, including behavior, societies, language, and culture. And it examines both past hunter-gatherers and modern societies equally, right? Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so guys, where we stopped? Yeah, multidisciplinary approach. So let's move on to the next slide. So Marvin Harris anthropology definition. Okay, so how he defined Marvin Harris is a very influential anthropologist, provides a very broader definition, and we will be looking at that. And he described anthropology as a study of all aspects of the whole mankind in all times and all places. So you can see how powerful that definition is, and how broad that definition is, and how big that definition is actually. So what he says is anthropology is a study of all aspects, which means everything. Okay, and whole mankind means every time, in all times that is there, and in all places across the world, across the time, beyond boundaries, right? That's how he defined anthropology. So his work reflects the discipline's comprehensive nature, showing that anthropology seeks to understand human life in its totality across time and space, and in every aspect. Okay, so a very broad definition, and it completely explained the scope of sociology, anthropology again and again. Sociology is coming. Okay, so and his definition basically showing you that it try to understand human life in totality. Okay, so everything about human life across the time, across the space, and in every aspect. So if you see Harris' approach to anthropology, particularly in the school of cultural materialism, okay, helps us understand how human societies developed through interactions between their environment, technology, and cultural system. So his approach is basically like this only, and we will be discussing again, we will be coming back to this. So when we define the scope, you don't want to mention everything from each of these. 1 or 2 lines is enough. That's why, that's what I have incorporated to make it simple and easy. So he's saying it basically help us understand how human societies develop through interaction between the connection between environment, technology, and the cultural system. Okay. So this what holistic perspective, temporal scope considers human life throughout history, not just the present. And spatial scope encompasses all human societies and culture around the world. So spatially, and across the time, across history, that's what his approach is all about. Okay, so now let's see anthropology and other discipline. Although, if you see, anthropology studies humans just as sociology also study human, biology also study human, psychology also do the same. But then why it stands out? We already discussed why it stands out or why is it distinct is basically because of its holistic and integrated approach. As you see in the definition given by Harris, right? So it's a holistic approach, it's a very integrated approach, and that's why it's not only studying the biological aspect, not only the cultural aspect, not only the social aspect, not only the environmental aspect, not only one area, not only one particular time. Everything is actually integrated and incorporated, holistic approach. Okay, so that's why you can say it is distinct or stands out. Sociology, if you see what they do, right, focuses mainly on the social structure of modern societies. Though they talk about the traditional societies, but not much. Therefore, sociology is basically to study social change. That itself will tell you it's basically to study the modern societies. And if you remember, if you have some idea about sociology, the emergence of sociology itself was because of modernity and emergence of sociology. Okay, so biology studies human being as organism, focusing on our physical and genetic traits. So what sociology study, that is basically modern societies or the changes, and biology study the human as organism, focusing on physical and genetic traits. Psychology looks at the behavior and mental process of individuals, right? So they all have limitations. Anthropology, you now understood, right? So what you're going to do now is what we have discussed. So in contrast of all these, it combines all these perspective and it studies human in simple and complex societies. It studies in traditional modern societies. It studies across the world. It studies biological, cultural, social simultaneously. So everything is, part of anthropology. So that's what I mean by holistic approach. Anthropology combines biological, cultural, and social perspectives to study humans. Broader scope. So unlike sociology, biology, or psychology, anthropology examines humans in both simple and complex societies. Integrated perspective, anthropology studies all aspects of humanity simultaneously rather than focusing on a single domain. Okay. So next is about studying human diversity. Let's look at this. So anthropology's holistic approach allow us to study human diversity to, all its forms. It examines how people from different parts of the world live, how their societies are structured, okay, and how it function and how their culture evolve. So all these will be part of anthropological study, okay? And anthropologists study everything from the physical difference between population, like the race, to the cultural practices that define specific communities. So not only the physical aspect of humans, but also the cultural differences and cultural practices. That's why different communities are framed, right? So this study of diversity is crucial for understanding how humans are adapted to different environments and how various cultural practices emerged. In this way, if you look at this, anthropology helps us appreciate the richness of human diversity. Okay, so that's how this is very significant.